Hey, welcome back at Beast in the Kitchen. Chef Ricky's back. I hope you enjoyed your week. Now we're getting into the weekend, which is really awesome. And something I want to whip up for you today. Everyone's always asking me about quick meals because they tend to want to order out on a Friday and a Saturday. You know, I'm not knocking delivery services. I know I'm not saying any bad things about them, but I was looking up and on average, they say it costs the press like $35. And I think I know a lot of times we want to splurge because, you know, time restraints, you got to work 5 o'clock on a Friday. If you don't work remote, you tend to, you know, be home a little late. But, you know, what I want to show you is you can make stuff, you know, pretty quickly, you know, with things you got already lying around your house. And let's heat this sucker up right now. And this is a sauce that can go with anything. Basic marinara, very basic, very, very basic. We're getting this heated up. You know, in school, we made big batches of this. There's different variations. We did like all the mother sauces, but, you know, marinara, tomato, and stuff like that always seems to be one of my favorites. And I'm trying to bring that now to where we can teach, you know, I can teach you some like, you know, easier things to do. Because, you know, most cookbooks are usually, you know, scaled to the consumer. So restaurant recipes I did in culinary school, you'd have to really cut them down more than half because they're gearing towards big batches, just like except for the things they make on demand. And also when you know, my background is catering, so everything I did was in big batches. But food is not scary. It's supposed to be a fun thing to do, bring families together, especially now lately. I think we need, you know, some coming together. This is extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons, but I'm like I always do, I'm gonna eyeball it. I'm trying to get it all in there. What I like about this induction is nice and flat. Where I live, my electric stove, which I don't care for, but where I live does not have gas. It seems like all my oil tends to move on one side. It starts to lean, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck is wrong with this. I've tried to fix it so many times, been there 16 years, and it hasn't happened yet. So 1/4 of a cup of onion. Basically, you don't have to measure it out like I do. Just small little onion, cut it in half. That's about 1/4. This is a little bit chunkier than I should have it. So I'm going to, because I had a bag already cut. Because when I have too many onions, I said, oh, look, it's time to do the onions. So I'm just gonna dice these a little bit more. They don't have to be minced, just a small little dice. But these did look kind of chunky. So get that into the pool. All right, sizzling, so it's good. That's when you know. I had a chef tell me when I first started, I'm like, it's sizzling. He's like, that's not a sizzle. We learn. This is only gonna be for a couple minutes. Let me get it all in the oil there. But no, I did learn a lot, and there were a lot of good chefs that I worked, that, you know, that taught me. You know, a few I didn't care for, but I thought they were good chefs, though. They just weren't good teachers. But let that mull around for a bit. Like I always tell you, mise en place, have everything ready. 2 garlic cloves, I already took the skin off. We don't have to go too crazy mincing. Sometimes I do use the jar kind that's already minced, but I bought some garlic, so I said, let's go with the fresh. You know, we want to, you know, people say, oh, gee, I can't believe you use it in the jar. I can't believe you do this. I can't believe you do that. Well, you got to make it a little bit easier for you. You can't do everything. It's okay to, you know, I do buy steamed broccoli in a bag just to help me out, but everything else is fresher. You know, just to kind of, when I do pizza or calzones, whoops, almost lost the knife there. Almost lost it. And that would have been a lesson I would have showed right on public television, which I do and love public television. I wish we kind of went back to having the 3 channels. I think sometimes there's just a little bit too much news. Hasn't been the greatest of things on the news lately. Let's give out some good vibes for things that are better. But one thing that can always bring us together is food. You know, not really looking for color here, just kind of, you know, it's a little soft, a little translucent. Do 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 do. Enjoy this musical interlude. Well, still not quite there yet. Boy, traffic today in Taunton, I'm not used to filming this later in the day. What a difference with schools and all that. I forget sometimes that children are back in school. I see all these cars and flashing lights, school zones. I'm like, oh yeah. Good thing I left a little early. All right, it's starting to soften up a bit. We're gonna add the garlic. I'm gonna build some flavor here. Hey, lost one. Onion and garlic, like peanut butter and jelly. Just a little bit of color on the garlic, maybe, but we don't want to burn it. So I have this on like medium high. For induction, number 2 is medium high, trust me. Starting to get fragrant. Look at that, it's starting to get there. Was that about a minute, everybody? I don't know. I think I kind of lost track. I was thinking of food. All right. Crushed tomatoes in a can. I wasn't about to crush a bunch of tomatoes, but sometimes I do. I actually made this the other day with a bunch of cherry tomatoes my mother gave me from her garden. So, and believe it or not, it works. But these are crushed tomatoes from a can, 28 ounce. Try to get as much as I can. Stir this up. Try to do this without getting myself dirty is a chore. All right. Now everything cools down because I just added cold product into the hot pot. So we're gonna get it back up to 10. Stir it occasionally. Some salt, about a teaspoon. Pepper. Black pepper. Stir this puppy up. One thing I'm going to add, in school we did it differently. We used, I know in one recipe, when I very first made it, being a freshman, I think it was like my second lab, we used white wine in the recipe that the chef had, which came out really well. But I'm going to use red because it's what I had, and that's what I used the other day, and it actually came out good. And a lot of people complimented on it. So this is optional. You don't have to do this. This original recipe that I got here doesn't ask for any wine at all. But alcohol will burn off, and alcohol, beer, spirits, it leaves such a nice residual flavor on things. I've done stuff with Zinfandel, with poached pears, beer with chili. I'm telling you, it never lets you down. And I don't drink alcohol, but I actually like cooking with it. All right, I'm gonna let this simmer for a little bit, and we'll be right back. I'll add the finishing touches.
Selfless service is the guiding principle of every Army National Guard soldier. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. To be an Army National Guard soldier is to serve something greater than yourself. Learn more at NationalGuard.com.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, and athlete. Because a kidney transplant gave him a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as a donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Hey everyone, this has been simmering, as you can see. This is only gonna be like a 20-minute kind of sauce. This is a quick sauce. Now optional, of course, some red pepper flakes. Well, probably wouldn't be a sauce, but you don't have to have it. And this original one was oregano and parsley, but I know one chef I worked with, when we did ours, he did Italian season. That's what I always use because it's got everything and then some. This is about a teaspoon. Maybe a little more than probably should be needed. And some people put a little bit of sugar. And I do that. This isn't part of this recipe either. I'm not putting a lot. Just a little bit to kill the acidity. And we're gonna get this going. All those, you can smell now all those flavors. The wine, the herbs, the garlic, the onion, you got it all. And this recipe is for a small family. This is only for like 4. So obviously if you're gonna do this, my advice would be do like what I do, is I get mason jars and I make a batch. But homemade, you wanna use it like in like 5 days or so. Not the jar kind that sits on the shelf. And that's what's good, because I was doing a cost analysis. I've seen some, I mean, you can get some that are like $2.99 a jar at a cheap store. Oh, I've seen sauce up to like $13. You know what I mean? This one, after running the cost, was a little over $2. So, on average, I think it came out to like $2.15 or something. And it's your own. You know what you put in it. If you don't want your kids to have too much sugar, that's fine. You put sugar in it. Or you put very little. I had a client once, believe it or not, was allergic to garlic, so I didn't put garlic in a lot of her food. You don't have to put garlic in it. Or in some cases, some people are allergic to the onion or garlic whole, but not the powder. Use the powder. When I worked, this is years ago, not even as a chef, way before culinary school, I went to bartending school. This is 1989. The Italian restaurant I bartended in, their sauce, I used to watch them. It was all seasonings. There was no whole onions. They had the big number 10 cans of this, and she would make it. And I remember a guy who used to buy it by the quart because of the fact they didn't put onions in it, because his wife was allergic. So basically what I'm saying is, in my ramble, is that you can make, it's your life, it's your food, you can do it any way you want. There's no set thing. You know, some people be like, oh gee, I never do that way, I'll never do it that way. You know, it's like, well, all right, that's you. But it's not everyone else. And once this is like done, this, like I said, can go on anything. I heated up some pasta here. And I think I have, oh, I do. Believe it or not, at home, I have one of these number 10 cans of sauce that I washed out and I use it for my spoons when I'm doing my thing. I'm gonna shut that off now. And I don't know how much, I know this is such the smallest ladle I ever had, but you know, it's a low budget show. Come on, Rick, you could have gotten a bigger ladle. La 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 da 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 da. And what else? I think I have something else for you. Oh, I do. A little bit of parm. I would throw some parsley on it, but I'm not wearing my glove, so. All right, everyone. Quick and easy marinara for you to eat. When you come right back, last week's crust, I'm gonna make the filling that goes with it. Stick around.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
I'm back. Everything's cleaned up. Remember last week we made the crust out of Christmas cookies? Well, we didn't have time to make the filling, but we're gonna do it today. And we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, no mixer or anything. I was gonna bring the big mixer, but I was like, there's a part in this where you have to do it by hand. Anyway, so we're gonna do a little thing, and I'm gonna show you a little cheat method. We're gonna start with 8 ounces of cream cheese, but I bought the whipped kind. It's a little bit more money, but it's already kind of softened for us. This original recipe is the regular 8 ounce. If you do that, please leave it at room temperature. If you put that in a mixer, it's gonna get all caught up in the paddle. So, whipped cream cheese. Look at that. Already. Look how soft that is already. Yeah, you definitely gotta wait till these things get soft. And what's nice about this, usually with cheesecakes, you do cook them in like a water bath, because I always had a problem with them cracking. And the professor, the chef, told me, yeah, you gotta do it in a water bath, nice and slow. So, lessons learned. But this kind is another kind of no-bake kind, and I've actually done one too, a different variation I'll talk about afterwards. And we got, let's see, 3/4 powdered sugar. I didn't sift it because you don't really need to. All right, we're gonna teaspoon of vanilla, just eyeball it. Usually I put this in the little thing, but I didn't have time today when I was going out the door. Let's mix this puppy up. See, I'm telling you. And whip it up nice. La 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 la. I'm telling you, buying the whipped is, and it's funny because I used to work in corporate dining. I didn't work there very long, but the chef was telling me we had all these different kinds of cream cheese and we made them, except for the whipped. But he told me, he goes, we probably could, because he goes, it's basically just cream cheese and water and whatever chemicals they put in it, I guess. All right, wouldn't be pumpkin cheesecake without pumpkin. It's usually about 1 1/4 cup, but I'm gonna eyeball it. This is 15-ounce can. But it's usually like 1 1/4 cup, I believe. That looked like 1 1/4 cup. You can't really mess up this recipe with unless you don't throw sugar in it. All right, I'm gonna switch tools. Because rubber spatula works well to get underneath. Someone asked me once, they're like, what's the difference between like mixing and folding? Well, folding, see, I want to get all that up top under there. Folding is when you go further like that, basically folding. We don't want to, you're not looking to break it up too much, because that's what we're going to do next. Because this we're mixing. You can go over there. Oh, I almost forgot. Teaspoon of pumpkin spice. If you don't have pumpkin spice, use cinnamon, that's all. But before I had the other secret ingredient, I'm gonna make sure to put the spice in there. If I had forgotten, I could have put it in afterwards. Like that, and here comes the folding part. Basically, you whip top and they buy in the freezer section. About 1.5 cups, see? This is this part that I took out already. It's from when I tested it at home. Do, 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 do. La, la, la. Bacon's a lot more messy than culinary, I'll tell you that. But it's still all good. And we're just gonna lightly fold that in. Lightly fold that in. Smells good. Always scrape to the bottom. He's a chef, I remember his anniversary just came up on LinkedIn. I gave him a happy anniversary. I just remember him in the bake shop telling me, make sure to scrape to the bottom, Ricardo. So now I do. All right, everyone. The last week's crust, I put it in the freezer. I'm gonna go fetch that. We'll be right back.
Selfless service is the guiding principle of every Army National Guard soldier. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. To be an Army National Guard soldier is to serve something greater than yourself. Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, and athlete because a kidney transplant gave him a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as a donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
See, it's coming together. Should look like that. Nice soft peaks or something like that. Remember, this is all Christmas cookies. To give a little rundown what we did last week. We ground up cookies. These were Christmas cookies that I had. A little brown sugar, some melted butter or margarine, a little bit of vanilla extract. Press it in here, and you don't even have to bake this either. So that's there. This might be for 2 crusts. But let's just take a look, because this crust is pretty thick. Or maybe not. No. We could do it with all this whole thing. This is why I love the rubber spatula. Look at that. Look at that. Walter's got dessert for him and his girl tonight. Spread that sucker around. Now you're not gonna eat this right away. This has got to set in the fridge. Actually, I'll leave it in the freezer just for like the first 10 to 15 minutes. And then you can put stuff on it. You want to put crushed cookies. You want to, some people put caramel drizzle. Me personally, I don't really care for all the things on top of cheesecake. I put cherries and stuff. I like mine on the plain side, especially this kind because it's flavored. But oh yeah, I meant to tell you, if you want to do a different variation, it's the same thing except when you, instead of using the pumpkin, get some gelatin, a flavored kind, say a lemon or something, and you heat it up, put it in here, put it in a little cup, heat it up the microwave or whatever the instruction is, and then with the cream cheese, beat that into it with the vanilla and with the Cool Whip. That's a demo I did at a senior center in 2013. And a lot of people I haven't made it in years, but that's another variation of a no bake. I'm gonna wipe clean. Sorry, it's too thick in the middle. I wanna spread the wealth a little bit. And that is it. And decorate it any way you'd like. It's nice seeing you all again. Like I said, let's all be good to each other out there. And if you got any questions, it's rickyfeedstheworld@yahoo.com or chefricardocosta@gmail.com. Please watch this on TCAM TV. If you're a YouTube person, it's Ricky the Chef. Silent Rage is the name of the channel. And I post these on there as well. Just like, subscribe, talk you know what about me, whatever it is. So until next time, if you got an idea of something, shoot me an email. If not, I'll see you next week regardless. Take care.